Welcome back to Fabricating Awesome Stuff. The oil lines that came with the turbocharger kit are stainless steel braided lines. And after determining the length of each line, it's necessary to install an AN fitting on each end of the line in order to install it on the engine. The problem with stainless steel braided hose is that once you cut it, the stainless steel braids tend to fray out and make it almost impossible to get it inside the fitting. I discovered a tool that makes this process really easy. So in today's episode, I'm going to show you the easy way to install the AN fittings on stainless steel braided hose. And then I fabricated the hoses and installed them on the engine, so I'll show you the routing and you can see how that all works. So please remember to like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of these updates. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thanks for watching. Inserting steel braided hose into a fitting can be kind of tricky because the steel braids try to fray out. And it seems like no matter how careful you are cutting it off, it still frays enough that it is almost impossible to get it to go into the fitting. So I discovered a tool that makes this pretty simple. It's called a cool tool. And I bought a kit that has 3 sizes, a number 4, a number 6, and number 8, because I'm going to be installing number 4s and number 6s in the aircraft. And what it is this is the number 4, and you insert the fitting into the cool tool, and then it acts like a funnel to try to funnel the braids right straight into the fitting. Now the fitting needs to be tight, so they have little spacers that you can put in, and that by putting that spacer in, it shoves that up nice and tight against there. So that's all set up. Now the line that I need to cut, I marked it with a black mark right there with a Sharpie as to where I want it cut. So now I'm going to take electrical tape and I'll put the tape right in the center, centered on that line. And I'm going to just pull this tape really tight and do several wraps. Pull it really tight on there. And we're going to try to hold those braids in place when we cut this line. I'm going to use a cutoff wheel to cut this, and we'll just cut it right in the middle of this tape line. Okay, now when we look at it, it's cut off pretty straight. It's not all frayed out. I'm going to pull the tape off, and then you'll see that it's not all frayed, but it's wanting to fray. So that's where this little cool tool comes in. This should slip in there pretty easily. I'll show you how it works. Okay, we're going to insert the cool tool in the vise and clamp it down. It's nice and tight in there. And I use a little bit of lithium grease inside the little funnel there to make it slide maybe a little bit easier. I'm going to put a pair of gloves on to give me a little bit better grip on the braided line. And we're going to take the end that we cut and we're going to insert it, and we're going to twist and push as we go in. We're going to like twist and try to screw it in as we're going into the funnel. So we'll just keep pushing and twisting. And just keep pushing and twisting. Just keep going until it feels like it's gone in all the way. Okay, we'll take it out of here and go look at it and pull the cool tool apart. Okay, we'll look with the flashlight, and we can see that the rubber, I don't know if you can see that, but the rubber is all the way up against the stop in the fitting itself. So now we're going to blow out the debris. And we'll take a piece of tape and place this tape on the hose right up against the fitting. Put a little bit of oil on the threads, and when we insert this into the fitting and start screwing it in place, if it shoves the hose out of the fitting, there will be a gap between the tape and the fitting. If there's no gap, we know we've got a good seal. So go ahead and thread that in. And as we thread this in, the fitting is expanding the rubber inside the hose to get a good seal. And it didn't shove it out. There's no gap in the tape, so we know we've got a good tight seal. I have fabricated and installed all of the oil distribution lines for my ROV turbo engine for my Sonex aircraft. What we're looking at right here is where the oil comes from the crankcase to the oil pressure sensor, and then through a pressure line to the bulkhead where the engine baffling is, and then on the other side of the baffling, the oil line continues and goes down to the oil filter. Then from the oil filter, it continues up and over and to the turbocharger. Next, the oil comes from the oil sump at the bottom of the turbo where you see that blue fitting, and then it follows the oil line through several 8L clamps, as you can see as we're following those. Goes through another 8L clamp there, then it comes up and attaches to the secondary oil pump on the engine. The oil then goes from the secondary oil pump up through the baffling and back into the crankcase. So that gives you the full routing of the oil system. So now that I've fabricated and installed all of the oil pressure lines on my ROV engine, we're that much closer to getting this engine ready to fire up and go flying. So it's pretty exciting. Please remember to like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of these updates, and thanks for watching.